Good morning, everybody, and this is your DAX day trade setups for today. So, looks like we're at a fairly strong area of resistance, but the concerning thing is that we have broken through. We are forming some form of an inside bar. We've got a couple of gaps to the downside as well. Ultimately, we are in a relatively good bull trend, and I suppose not from the bigger time frame, but on the lower time frames. We'll get to that now. I'm jumping ahead of myself here. So right now on the 8 hour, we are trying to establish a break of the moving averages, and we're looking for an area of support. So just want to get the levels in. There's the critical area here. There is a gap just below that, so also bring that into play there. So that gives you the areas we need to pay attention to. We'll touch on them on the lower time frames. But yesterday was one-way traffic. Pretty strong moves to the upside. No opportunities to jump in on it. There were no really decent, good pullbacks. Oscillators are grouped to the upside, which is always a concern. You don't really want to be jumping in long when they're like that. However, look at the crossovers happening here. This is an indication that this trend of the last, 3 weeks has come to an end. This is also a rounding bottom. This zone here would be a really good confirmation retest, and if we do get down there, I'll be impressed, because that would close the gap, and that's exactly what we need to happen, and that's at 13,064. But that erases all the gains for the week so far. Okay, it has been volatile like that for quite a few weeks at the moment, so pretty much all year. So nothing impossible, but for me, I think this zone between what's the top here, 13,338 and 13,158. I think this zone here is the area you need to look for support. So my view at the moment is you should be buying off structure. We've got a crossover of the moving average, of the oscillators, and we are easing off. We did have diversions here. You can see how oscillators were moving down while price was moving up. But ultimately what we need now is we need price to start making some new lows, and I don't see that at the moment. Do you want to get this in? Okay, that is, get it in. So that is the first two fractals which starts off the trend, and it's always important to have those two in, because that gives you an idea of where everything is. This level here, I'm going to fine tune down to this swing high here, and look what happens. We have a intersection here of diagonal and horizontal support. So that is at 13,314. Now let's just drop down to the 15-minute. That's what you'll need to be paying attention to this morning. First thing I want us to look for is any gaps here. There's a big weekly gap here, so obviously we'd love to see that close, but if it doesn't close and we get a breakaway gap, it could get pretty interesting. We've got a gap down at the moment, so I suspect that would get targeted. This is a fairly strong area of support if you look at it on the 15-minute. So that is my gap. My area of interest. So 13,314 is my entry. Roughly here. Obviously, we're looking for price action at that level. So inside bars, pin bars, engulfing bars, and my stop area is below this cluster here. So it's a 60. Call it a 70-point stop loss for an entry, and at least gap close, which is 106. If we start breaking above this high from yesterday, let's just get this off the 3 hour. And you can see there's quite significant area that we're at the moment, but if we do break above that, then your next logical target is up here at 13,443. And we've already hit that one, so let's just get to the next one. That would be the next one up there. That's 13,560. Okay, so you can see here on the 3 hour, pull back onto structure, strong area of support here, pull back onto here, touching onto our trend line as well. Then you're looking for another dash up to this 13,560 area. So that's kind of my play for today. I want to get what that should be. It's actually going to be a very nice opportunity. So there's our call it 70-point stop loss, and we are looking for 239 points to the upside. That's a really decent trade. Just bear in mind that there is some data coming out in Europe this morning, which may influence this one way. Well, it's going to influence this, but which way is the question at the moment. So there is quite a bit of stimulus coming into the market as well, some energy subsidies across Europe and the UK. So it's free money into the market again. Last time that happened, we had a relatively strong rally. So let's see what happens. I think just bear in mind, any time you sort of throwing money into the market, you're putting more money into the consumer. When you put more money into the consumer's pocket, the habit is not to save it. The habit is to spend it. So when you're spending, you're buying things. When you're buying things, the competition of price actually gets driven up. So things like inflation start coming down. So at the moment, I'm kind of on the fence, but everything is leaning towards a base of being formed, and we are now looking for a continuation of the upside. So it's been 2 days already where we've had a continual uptrend. So looking at the 15-minute, look at the oscillators grouped nicely to the downside. Could also just form a range right where we are. Not to say that this area here is not going to offer support as well. But anyway, I'm looking for 13314 drop down there. I'm looking for a pin bar. There's a pin bar, an engulfing bar. There's an engulfing bar, or an inside bar. There's an inside bar. And I'm looking for that structure on a level. And you can see here is a pin bar on the level. Not looking for this kind of setup where it's below the level. So there's a pin bar on a level, valid signal. There's an inside bar, valid signal, and your entry is on the break. But you can see when you do get inside bars and engulfing bars on a level, 9 times out of 10, especially when you've got a magnet like this below you as a gap, there's often a break below to trigger the stops of all the people that were in it too early. And then pin bars are probably of those 3 patterns the most important one. That's typically what you can always jump in on the first one rather than on the second pattern. But when you're getting inside bars, I typically wait for a next setup. That didn't materialize. There's my next setup right there. Why didn't this materialize? Because it closed below the level. Anyway, that's kind of my view at the moment. Pay attention to this area, 13314, and your stop area is just below 13250. Yeah, 13250 is your stop area. Just don't go right on 13250. It may just get tagged, so just take 2 or 3 points below that. Anyway, that's kind of my view today. I hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.